Following is verse 12 of chapter 41, which tells us about the creation of the skies and earth. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And God completed them as 7 skies in 2 days and inspired in each sky its commands. The early interpretation understood the 7 skies to be the 7 levels of Aristotle and Plato. Each level housed one of the moving heavenly bodies, namely the 5 planets, the sun, and the moon. On top of all sits the dome which houses the fixed stars. This understanding, which I call interim interpretation, was in line with human knowledge in the 7th century and served its purpose at their time. Today, human knowledge have advanced, and we know that this interpretation and the Aristotelian model are not a correct presentation of our sky. In order to understand this Quran verse, we need to define the exact meaning of the words mentioned in it, as listed in the Old Arabic Dictionary, in order to take the word back to its original meaning. In the early dictionaries, we find the word sama, which we understand today as sky, and some translators translate it as heavens. We find that sama original or basic meaning is high. We call the sky sama because it is high. In Mu'jam Maqayis al-Lugha, which goes back to the 4th Hijri century, corresponding to the 10th century AD, Ibn Faris wrote, meaning of the word sama indicates high, height, and sama elevated. If you say a person sama, it indicates that he risen up till I saw him. Arabs call the cloud sama and the rain sama. Al-sama is the roof of a house, and every high thing which overlooks its surroundings is called sama. Even they call the back of a horse sama. Earth, on the other hand, ard. In Maqayis al-Lugha, ard is that which is under our feet and facing the sky. You will find the same meanings in all other early Arabic language dictionaries. So, the origin of the word sama is high, and because the sky is high, it is called sama. So when the word is mentioned, we can understand it as high, height, risen, elevated, or sky, as the context indicates. I explained before in other videos in Arabic that the interim interpretation of our Quranic verses is the outcome of the interaction between the fixed text and the human knowledge at a particular age or time. As human knowledge is progressing, so our interim interpretations will be evolving, but stays within the limitations of the text and the basic meaning of its words. I believe this is the strength of the fixed text. As we have shown, the early scholars interpreted this verse to mean the 7 levels of Aristotle's domes, which was the outcome of the interaction between the text and their knowledge at that time. Such interpretation served its purpose at the time. Our knowledge has advanced and changed, and we expect the same fixed text when it interacts with our contemporary knowledge to provide new interim interpretations, which will demonstrate that the fixed text is able to keep up with the continuous scientific advances. In other published researches in this website and channel, I demonstrated this to be true with regard to evolution, creation of the universe, and others. Now let's go back to the 7 skies and earth. As we showed, the word sama indicates high or height, which is a dimension. Let's call it h. Could this verse be understood in the concept of dimensions rather than skies? Apparently, yes. Language clearly permits us to explore this view. The word earth, ard, as we mentioned before, is what is under our feet, which is land. Land could be taken as flat level surface, as described in many other verses. Flat level is described in math by two perpendicular horizontal dimensions, x and y. So now we have sky, which can be presented as one height, and earth presented by two horizontal dimensions. These three spatial dimensions, together with time, which is the fourth dimension, they all make our observable four-dimensional universe, which is referred to in the Holy Quran as Al-Sama' al-Dunya and Alam al-Shahada, which translate to the near sky and the observable world. But the verse tells us 7 skies, so there are another 6 skies, meaning 6 heights. This will necessitate the addition of another 6 spatial dimensions. This additional 6 dimensions plus the first 3, which are Earth, X and Y, and Sama, H, altogether 6 plus 3 makes 9 spatial dimensions, plus the dimension of time, takes us to a 10-dimensional universe. 10 dimensions is what the mathematicians added to get all the 4 forces of nature explained in math, and what the superstring theory tells us about our universe. So the 7 skies and earth in the Quranic verses could be interpreted to refer to a 10-dimensional universe some of our theorists believe we live in. This understanding could be our present-time interim interpretation, resulting from understanding the text by taking its words to its basic meaning and reflecting such text to our contemporary understanding of the possible structure of our universe. So we are not saying this is the absolute and final meaning. It is an interim, and should our knowledge advances or change, the words and the text may reveal new interpretation. Back to the 10 dimensions. We can take this understanding further and see how it will stand with other verses relevant to the multi-skies. Nowadays, we know the first 3 dimensions are expanding. We know that because we are living and moving within these 3 directions, while the other 6 dimensions are curved on themselves at an extremely tiny microscopic length, much less than an atom dimension, at or under the Planck length. We find these assumptions are reflected in the Quranic verse 47, chapter 51. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We built the sky with might, and we are expanding it. This verse states that only one sky is expanding, one of the 7 heights, indicating the other 6 heights or other 6 spatial dimensions did not expand and stayed at or near their creation size, which is what the multi-dimensions theorists are telling us. In verse 33, chapter 55, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Jinn and mankind, if you can penetrate the diameters of the skies and the earth, do penetrate, but you cannot penetrate without power and authority. Here, the challenge is for penetrating the diameters of the skies in plural. It concludes that you cannot penetrate without authority and power. This verse telling us that we cannot travel to upper dimensions, meaning that our movement is limited to within our 3 spatial dimensions. On April 1961, Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin blasted off in a Vostok rocket, becoming the first human in space. On July 1969, the Americans' Apollo 11 landed the first 2 men on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. I remember that time some people questioned the verse we recited above, saying we humans have traveled in space, assuming the verse is telling them they cannot. But as we can clearly see, this verse is talking about traveling through skies, 7 skies, not within one sky. Actually, this verse is telling us that we can travel within our sky, to other planets, to other stars, even to other galaxies, as far as it is within our 4-dimensional world. Obviously, we only can do that after we advance enough to solve the vast distances, travel time, and energy issues. What will be difficult or near impossible is to move to upper dimensions. The verse used the word penetrate through the sky's diameters, which are higher dimensions. Even here, the verse does not tell us we cannot. It tells us we need an authority or power. Also, we know that a higher dimension being can observe all lower dimensions. The time a being living in a lower dimension cannot observe a higher dimension. So if one lives in the 4th spatial dimension, he can see our world of the 3 spatial dimensions, but we cannot see him. This may explain verse 27, chapter 7. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Indeed, he and his tribe sees you from where you do not see them, which indicate that the devil and his kind probably occupy or live in a 4th or higher dimension from where they can see us while we cannot see them. To summarize the above, in accordance to our mathematical models and theories, although unproven on the experimental level, these elegant models tell us that our universe has 9 spatial dimensions plus time, which make it a 10-dimensional universe. So the 7 skies mentioned in the verse are 7 spatial dimensions, making our universe to be of higher dimensions than the observable 4. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel and share this video. Also visit Al-Mudaraba and Islam and Science Today website, where you will find more research in subjects of interest to Muslims today. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.